Israel is facing a moral dilemma as President Trump is pressing Israel to jump into phase 2 of his peace plan, even as Hamas refuses to return the last hostage body. In Gaza, a civil war is brewing. A local rival assassinated, unrest spreads through the streets, and Hamas refuses to disarm. Meanwhile, Qatar woos American influencers and pushes for full Israeli withdrawal from the Strip. So, is phase 2 a real strategy or pure, dangerous political theater? We're breaking it all down on today's Quad. Welcome back, everybody, to the Quad, here with my wonderful co-host, Emily Schrader, human rights activist and journalist, Bellamy Bellucci. She's everything, an activist, a model, a dancer, and my very good friend Shai DeLuca, an Israeli-Canadian TV personality, and of course, like the rest of us, an activist. Welcome, Shai. Welcome
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
It's great to have you. And what's going on? We are now at the point where phase 2 is supposed to happen. But the most important thing for phase 2, of course, the hostage, the one hostage, fallen hero, and this man really was a hero who went injured already. He was injured from an accident that he'd had around Vili, and he went in to the fire, killed a bunch of terrorists, and saved a lot of people, and then got killed himself. His body is still in Gaza. But more strategically, they haven't disarmed. Nobody knows who's going to disarm them. Nobody knows who can disarm them. And then you have those lobotomized hypocrites in Doha talking like Israel started this whole thing and it's only Israel's fault and everybody's falling in line. Of course, we know Tucker Carlson will do that, but also the Saudis, which I'm super disappointed with. Everybody has decided that the strategy is let's blame Israel for everything, even as they ignore the role that Qatar has in enabling terrorists, in funding terrorists, and in being the arsonist and the firefighter at the same time. So what is going to happen? Are we going to get to phase 2? The military chief of staff yesterday said the yellow line, that's where we're going to stay. What do you think, Emily?
I have absolutely no idea.
Oh, Emily, that's not like you.
I know, right? I don't think that we're going to get to phase 2 as it was initially proposed. I think Hamas has been very clear about that, that they're not disarming and they're not going to remove themselves from governance. And now we see Qatar backpedaling and saying, oh, well, we should move to phase 2, even though all the hostages haven't been returned. And we see Turkey talking about how we should move to phase 2. And apparently the last hostage just doesn't matter to them. I mean, I know that they only viewed these human beings as bargaining chips, as they emphasized so many times over the past 2 years. But I don't know. I really don't know what's going to happen.
Isn't the disarmament really the key issue here in terms of if they don't disarm and if they continue governing Gaza, then what's the point? What was the point of the 20-point plan? What was the point of going to the UN with a 20-point plan where they're supposed to not rule?
The point of the plan is that Donald Trump wants a Nobel Peace Prize and he wants to be able to say, I solved 3,000 years of conflict, even though that isn't anything related to any semblance of reality. And that's why they announced it the way that they announced it. It's great that progress was made, but it's not what they presented it as.
Well, nothing ever is. Shai, what do you think about this whole mess?
One hostage left, the hostages are not home. And it is so infuriating to watch the world just simply look at this one person as if he doesn't matter. And as you said, he was one of the biggest heroes, the biggest, one of the first in, one of the last to come home, the last to come home. And, you know, I watch it and I agree with you. I agree with you that I think that this is so much, I was really hopeful. I really, you know, I hung I hung my star on President Trump, and I really hoped that he was going to bring us to the second phase, and I really hoped he was going to finish phase 1. But I agree with you. I think at this point, he just wants to get, he doesn't have another presidency, he doesn't have another term coming, he just wants to get that peace prize. And I'm really worried that at this point, it's almost insignificant for him, and that infuriates me.
Depends what else it depends on. If there's stuff going on with Saudi and Qatar that we don't know. He's also saying, look, you guys also didn't believe we were going to get the 20 living hostages home, and we did. Let us do our thing, even though he's talking about this weekend going into phase 2, when there's not one one gun being taken back from Hamas, and nobody who can do it, who can actually do the job except the IDF.
But you know what? He also said, and this is another thing that's really, it's concerning to me, is that now we're talking about heavy weaponry versus guns.
Right.
So let's get the heavy weaponry out, and the guns maybe.
Leave the guns, because they can't kill people.
Ridiculous. That's not disarmament.
No. Melanie?
Bluntly, you cannot move on from one phase until the other phase has actually been fully seen through. And we've seen multiple ceasefire violations from Hamas, but the world is silent on that part. We have to move on to phase 2. Why do we have to move on to phase 2? There's still one hostage and they haven't disarmed. So if we're truly going to stick to at least 2 of those points, why isn't it being done? It's really that simple. So there will be no moving to phase 2. Israel should not be kowtowing in any way or form. His body needs to come home first. What are you going to do in terms of disarmament? There is no moving forward. You don't reward a baby for bad behavior. That is not what needs to be done, but that's exactly what the world wants to do. So no, you don't reward bad behavior. You cannot give a gold star, which has become this thing that everybody does. Oh my God, you took a breath today. Congratulations. That's exactly how the world is looking at Hamas. That's exactly what we're treating terrorists as, and even sympathizers around the world. I really don't care that the world thinks that we should move on to phase 2. Where the hell have you been this whole time?
Well, I think it's encouraging that the chief of staff, Zamir, said the yellow line until further notice, that's the new border. The question is if the Americans are going to pressurize us not to build a wall, which was part of the plan, and keep it as a temporary border and not as a permanent border. But the way I see it is, I don't see how we retrieve. I don't see how we retrieve because I don't see how Hamas disarms. And whatever pressure is to put on Bibi, and I think he's very good, and you can love him or hate him, he's very good at withstanding pressure. And the fact that we're even in that yellow line to begin with, when the leverage is on us and not on them, I thought that was the biggest achievement of the war.
Do you think he's withstanding the pressure now?
Well, we haven't seen otherwise. The chief of staff has said he's not moving from the yellow line. And we're not moving from the yellow line. Not only that, he also said yesterday that we could go back into the areas that we already cleaned out because guess what? The terrorists are coming back and they're rearming. And meanwhile, we've got this whole farce. Yesterday I interviewed Olga Deutsch from NGO Monitor. They released a report about how all of the humanitarian organizations are essentially, we knew this, okay? But now there's proof. They were all in cahoots with Hamas. They're all working for Hamas. They were all basically planning and strategizing how they come out with their reports of starvation and of this and of that, all of it with Hamas. We knew it instinctively, right? And now there's proof. Do you think that changes anything? Does that change anything?
Gone are the days when you would see an African child with kwashiorkor and a fly that was hired, and you knew that if you were paying gone are those days when that was a reality, when you truly thought that there is an actual humanitarian crisis. That birthing of when I was younger, truly believing that, oh my goodness, they are really starving kids. These organizations are really doing something for them. So it was just a vehicle for them to get to Israel. It was always a vehicle for them to make sure that Israel will literally be wiped off the face of the earth. And how do you do that? You start with a fairy tale story about how we are saving the world. We are here for you. We will do whatever needs to be done. You fund us, we take care. And then we look at how this war has rolled out. Where have they been? If we truly want to use that term humanitarian, where have they been?
Well, the Red Cross apparently apologized to one of the hostages. Who was it? One of the hostages came out and said that
they did nothing.
That the woman turned around and said, "I'm sorry, we did nothing. I'm sorry, we weren't there for you."
That's nice.
Oh, yeah.
That's so nice.
Oh, comforting.
Yeah, very comforting.
So
love you.
So let's talk about Doha, because I just can't.
Yeah.
How these people call themselves journalists, Christiana Manpour, softballing to Al-Jolani, who they want to make into Herzl. Like, they've made him look like Herzl. They put him in a suit. They trimmed his beard. Have you noticed? And And she softballs an interview of us kissing. And then you've got, of course...
Well, didn't you hear that he's not a terrorist?
No.
Al-Qaeda are not terrorists, guys.
Didn't you know?
Everyone saw that America are the terrorists.
Yes.
Look at what happened in Iraq and Afghanistan. And I know because Ahmed al-Shara told me at the Doha forum. America is the real terrorist.
Said America was a terrorist?
Yeah, of
After
course.
everything Trump has done to legitimize him.
Yes.
And to take sanctions away and to let his country function, even as he was massacring Jews and we were defending them.
Yeah.
And Trump stuck with him and now he's blaming America.
Yes, that's right.
And Cristiano Manpour said, yes, sir.
Yes, I mean, this is the whole point of the Doha Forum.
But wouldn't that...
That everything Western is terrorism and everything that's terrorism is in fact not.
We live in the upside down. We live in the upside
But if
down.
you look at it in terms of what you're selling, what they're selling, they always say the West is next. So what kind of language would you use? The West are terrorists. So as Westerners, you're supposed to believe that because you're supposed to see them as the good guys, the freedom fighters.
Yep.
They're, Hamas is there fighting. It's the language. And if you truly look at exactly what they're doing, they're incredible because they've played the long game. And we're just getting the sold part right now.
You know, it's interesting, though, because you talk about Hamas being the freedom fighters, and yet when Tucker Carlson was interviewing the prime minister or president, whatever he is, of Qatar, and said to him, you guys have Hamas here, you have them here in your country, they tried to play it off as though it was Israel's request to have them there for safekeeping.
Right, they
And
said
the
that.
US, yeah.
And I watched this,
The safety.
and Tucker...
Because we're really concerned about Khaled Mashal's safety.
Very concerned, and that's why we bombed it, because we're so concerned. I mean, honestly, we talked about this just before we started taping. The word journalist no longer holds the same meaning that it did. And it's infuriating.
Yes. It's completely infuriating because there's an agenda. This Doha conference had a very clear agenda.
Yeah.
And everybody's falling in line.
Yeah.
Well, Tucker Carlson, we expected it, right? You know, he said he's buying property and nobody paid him anything. Sure, we believe you. I don't know where Piers Morgan is, but apparently he's raising money for his new news outlet, or his new media outlet.
Okay.
I don't know whether he's there or not. Don Jr.'s there, of course.
Of course.
And you've got the same old usual suspects, Cristiano Manpour. What other journalists did I see there that are completely... Yalda Hakim, of course. So all of...
And the Islamic Republic.
And the Islamic Republic.
Javad Zarif,
Javad
Trista
Zarif.
Parsi,
And where did you-
Rob Malley.
Of course. Wasn't he supposed to be under investigation?
He's still under investigation.
But what a beautiful thing.
And
It's
teaching
very
at
smart
Princeton.
that how they did
Philip
it, because
Pulitzer Prize
they've
team.
started building little by little. So when I started looking at it a few weeks ago, they had the fashion thing for that weekend. There was Franca Sadzone's gala, and they had Anna Wintour and all of this. And then the followed was with F1, where they brought all the conservative influencers leading up to the conference. So are we really surprised at the rollout of the red carpet and the timing of them doing it while we're being asked move on to phase 2?
Yeah.
Because everyone that they had, very calculated.
But the whole thing is like, it's like a comedy of... I don't know how to describe it. It's like Bizarro world.
Yeah, it's upside down.
And you've got Javad Zarif saying, oh, Iran's never fired a bullet. Like, they're killing women. They're showing a strand of hair. They're building a nuclear program to destroy Israel, but they never fired a bullet.
Let me say this. If Netflix is watching, the next season of Stranger Things needs to be this. It's literally this. We're living in it.
And at the same time, completely ignored by all those parrots at the conference, you've got Khaled Mashal saying very clearly, watch this, that they're not disarming anytime soon.
المعركة لم تنتهي بعد. حماية مشروع المقاومة وسلاح المقاومة. هذا حق شعبنا في الدفاع عن نفسه. المقاومة وسلاحها شرف الأمة وعزها.
So here we have it. And in the Doha conference, like this, nothing was happening. The only person they forgot to invite was Miss Rachel.
How rude. They would have done amazing.
They would have done amazing. And it would have been wonderful for her. But it's, the more history I read, and I'm reading this long book of the history of the Jews, nothing is new under the sun. Nothing is new under the sun. We've been here before multiple times. And it's just incredible that people are lobotomized and falling for this.
Yeah.
Do you understand it? Shai, you're in Canada, for God's sake.
Yeah.
What's going on over there?
Let me tell you, Canadians ask me all the time, what do I think the future is going to look like in Canada? And I say, all you need to do is look at Paris and look at London. It's coming, and they think I'm being extreme. They think I'm being, over the... I am not. I see it. I see it every day. Listen, I am very open. I am an on-air presenter. I am, in the public eye. I do... I speak for Israel all the time. I can't go from my home to an event without security.
No.
Yes, I have to have security with me all the time. They have to take me out back ways. It's crazy what is happening there. And it is absolutely, I don't want to say it's accepted by everybody, but certainly by the government, who does absolutely nothing. Our mayor, the premier, I don't want to talk about, but our prime minister, literally nothing is being done. And it's almost as if it is giving credence to everything that is happening.
Yeah.
It's a scary time.
It's incredible. We thought it couldn't get worse than Trudeau. It did.
Well, hold my beer. Yes. Yeah, no, it's getting bad, and I'm very concerned for Canada. I'm very concerned for what the future holds for Canada. I'm optimistic, or I try to be optimistic, and hope that the pendulum is going to swing the other way. But we wait and see.
Well, the question is how much. I always say things have to get a lot worse sometimes before they get better. And every week I think we've hit rock bottom. Every week I think we've hit rock bottom. And then you have people coming out and just waking up, or people who are already half awake coming out and saying, this is ridiculous. You won't see, unless I'm wrong, in that Doha conference, an Emirati.
Yeah.
I didn't see one because they know exactly who Qatar are.
Correct.
Maybe I'm wrong. The Saudis, however.
Is that right? There were no Emiratis?
I didn't see any, but the Saudis, they really disappointed me because they also were at Bruegger's. They also didn't get along with Qatar. They had this kind of Cold War. They fought in different sides of the war in Yemen. So
They are fighting. They're fighting again.
They're fighting again in Yemen.
Yeah.
But listen, for the
And
Saudis...
the princess goes, was it her? I think it was a Saudi princess saying, it's all Israel.
Listen, it's more important now for the Saudis, their relationship with the U.S. than anything else. And I think that this is a way to say, hey, we're here, we're doing what it is that we're towing the line. And, at the end of the day, the U.S. doesn't live in the region, but it has so much influence over the region that I think at some point, I've said this for years, we have to be able to break free from that chain that the U.S. has here in the region and certainly here in the country.
I agree. And talking about that, another genius at the Doha conference, Tom Barak, who is kind of is he special envoy ambassador?
I don't even know.
He goes and says that, it's funny because he stole a word from me, or two words from me. I've always said that in the Arab world, the only thing that works, I've been saying this for years, and the only thing that works is a benevolent monarchy or benevolent dictatorship. But he goes and completely dismisses the fact that Israel is a democracy and says, no, Israel is not a democracy. And the only thing that works, you know what, Tom Barak, the only thing that works for Arab countries is a benevolent is a benevolent dictatorship, benevolent monarchy, not for the Jewish country, the liberal Jewish country with freedom of speech of Israel. That doesn't work for us. That works for the Arab countries who, if they didn't have these benevolent monarchies, they'd have the Muslim Brotherhood.
Right.
So I just think everybody's been lobotomized.
I look at democratic countries in the West, in Europe, in North America, and I see them fangirling and fanboying over what is happening in these dictatorships as if it's, wow, it's this new way to, live a life. And they're doing it from the comfort of their own lovely homes in the West where they are free to do whatever they want until it happens.
Armchair revolutionary.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The beauty of that for me is seeing it all unravel in real life. The 100-year plan, the 50 years have been done, now we're in it. So I don't think that the West is next. We're seeing the West happen right now in real time. If you look at how people see the world, receive information, process it, and their reaction to it. So we haven't reached a point in which there's this civil discourse in the West just yet, but we're in it. So to shift the language and still keep saying, no, it's not next. Look around, feel it around. New York feels like this black cloud around you because something is going to happen, but don't worry. Everything's okay. You can shoot 2 people in Washington, D.C. that are part of the National Guard, but it was an isolated incident. But 2 seconds later, you have, Chris or Steven in Michigan going, all this will be happening again online. They're saying this online. this is just the beginning. Get ready. And there's no alarm bells going off and such because the country itself is also so massive. People's thought processes are so different. People's political beliefs are so different. And now we're in this moment of everybody wanting to say, I'm going to go against the current administration no matter what. It doesn't matter what I believe or what I know about Israel. As long as I can literally say, I don't stand with this kind of administration, with this kind of leadership, then I'm correct. I'm doing my, I'm living out my First Amendment right in terms of my freedom of speech and everything else. Oh, congratulations, Steve-O. How's that going to work for you when, you're living under Sharia law? Because there's no takesies, backsies once it's done.
Yeah, but Europe is seeing it right now. We just had another attack in a Christmas market. The Christmas markets that are still, they cancel New Year's Eve in France, in Paris. For God's sake, they canceled the big public New Year's Eve party. You've got Christmas markets in Germany with bolas like what we had, bus stops, so that somebody doesn't come and mow people down like we're killed. And then we've got Eurovision. I know this is a favorite of yours, Shai.
Listen, what happened with Eurovision? First of all, we're in it. We're going to win it. It's going to happen. We're going to take it again this year. But I have to say, I mean, the 4 countries, Slovenia, Spain, Holland, what was the other? Ireland, of course. Spain, the one country that made Jews hide who we were. My family were from the Jews that left Spain. Made us hide who we were, are now asking Jews again to hide who we are, to lower our identity. Never.
No,
never
they
again.
kicked us out and now they come here to harass us.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. That it's double. I think what's funny is that they got up on a very high horse and they were left there because the rest of Europe didn't go along.
Yeah.
Like they could have. Some people say, it's the end of the Eurovision Song Contest because now they've politicized it. We didn't politicize it. They politicized it.
Of course.
And I just find it funny.
By the way, when was the last time Spain won?
Oh, the last year they came penultimate. Second, I was interviewed in Spanish TV the day after, and I was like, you came last. No, we came penultimate. But it's also that they've been left there, and the other European, they thought it was going to start a wave, and I hope it doesn't, but they were just left there, basically.
But then to now say that their condition is that Israel has to present itself under a different flag. Well, I would love for you to go under the flag of Catalonia.
Thank you.
If you truly want this to be an equal footing of such, moral compass and everything else, by all means, use that flag.
It's just, it just can't get more ridiculous.
Crazy stuff.
Day. I just wonder when the world's gonna wake up. I just wonder when the world's gonna wake up.
Over a singing competition.
Yeah.
And that's the saddest part. It's something that's meant to unite, unify, and bring people together and make it apolitical, and they politicized it. And it's sad.
And then you see people now saying, well, Israel should withdraw for the sake of, arts and culture. Why should Israel withdraw? Why? Israel is not the problem here. Israel wants to sing a song.
Yeah. You clearly don't know Israelis. You clearly don't know Israelis.
You think we're just going to roll over?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, and with that takes us to our very popular segment, Scumbag of the Week. All right, so many scumbags, so little time. We're waiting every day through scumbags. And Shai, you get to do your first one.
I'm excited.
On this show. Go ahead.
Okay, my scumbag of the week is, of course, Guy Christensen.
Cabbage Patch Kid.
I say preemie Cabbage Patch because he doesn't look fully developed yet. So Guy Christensen was on Piers Morgan this week. And, whatever you think about Piers Morgan, the interview was, and that clip that they clipped him where he asked him, what is a terrorist?
Yes.
Had absolutely no idea how to define it. Of course, he was talking about Elias Rodriguez, who killed the 2 embassy workers in D.C. and said, no, they're not terrorists, they're murderers. And Pierce very calmly said to him, a terrorist is somebody who kills somebody for political reasons. Did he kill him for political reasons? Yes. Well, is he a terrorist? And the camera pans in on him and he had this look of Cabbage Patch preemie, undeveloped. It was perfect.
Why do you think resistance happens?
It's not resistance, it's terrorism. When you cold-bloodedly murder people in the street in DC as a response to a war that's going on in Gaza, that is terrorism.
It's reaction to the genocide. He couldn't bear it anymore.
No, it's just cold-blooded murder. That's what it is.
It's murder. I agree with that.
You
I
agree it's
never
murder?
encourage anyone. I agree it's murder.
Okay, so
obviously.
then he's a terrorist then, right?
No, he's not a terrorist.
What is he? He's a murderer?
Reacting to the genocide. Yeah, sure, he's a murderer.
And he's murdering
But I'm
for...
not going to condemn him.
Do you
I'm gonna
accept he
condemn
was
the
murdering
genocide
for...
that
Do
spurred
you accept he was
the
murdering
genocide
for...
he couldn't bear watching torn apart Palestinian
Sorry,
children.
wait a minute. Do you accept that he was murdering for political reasons?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, then that's a terrorist. That's literally the definition of a terrorist.
And listen, this kid has a lot of history when it comes to anti-Semitism and hate.
He's only 20.
Oh.
For God's sake, he's
Didn't he
started
get
young.
expelled?
He got himself from college.
He got expelled from college. He was kicked off of Meta. He's on an FBI watch list. I mean, listen, you ruined your life. Your life is ruined for what? For sitting in his house with a Palestinian flag in his room in his parents' basement. I'm like, come on. That's my scumbag of the week.
A very worthy one indeed. And, you know, Piers has his good moments,
Yeah.
as Emily and I know, and his bad moments, but that was a good moment.
Yeah.
Really was a good moment. All right, Emily, who's your scumbag this week?
So going back to the Doha forum, it was very hard to choose
Oh.
only one scumbag because there was just a plethora of scumbags in every direction from every country and I mean, it was crazy. It's just a scumbag festival. That's what they should rename it. But I chose for this week Neil Patel, who is one of the investors in the Tucker Carlson network. And the reason that I chose him, he also, of course, was present at the Doha forum along with Tucker Carlson. But I chose him because he's been called out for a lot of his associations with Qatar. He's been rightly and justly criticized for this. And he tweeted this week, "Greetings from the bloodthirsty, terror-supporting slave state of Qatar," showing himself with Tucker Carlson and a drink, which apparently Tucker Carlson is no longer an alcoholic.
Oh.
News to everyone here, but okay.
Was that a mocktail, maybe?
I mean, let's one day at a time. Yeah, he's on day one now. Anyway, he shared this picture of Tucker Carlson flipping off the camera, and I just think it's appalling and repulsive and despicable to mock a country that is actively engaging in modern day slavery. I think like it takes a special kind of callousness and hatred for humanity. Forget about Israel, forget about the political conflict. To mock something like that is like beyond inhumane. And it really speaks to the kind of person that Neil Patel and his friends like Tucker Carlson are. And it's revolting. So you're my scumbag of the week.
Worthy scumbag. But who is Neil Patel? Like, where did he come from? What is he, like a multimillionaire who just invested? Or does he have like political ties? What do we know about him?
Not that much.
Just like-
that he is one of the original investors in Tucker Carlson's network, along with Omid Malik, the Pakistani Iranian, who also was at the Doha.
Of course he was.
Why wouldn't he be?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Why can't they just play cricket?
That'd be a good team.
Do what the
Colonials used to do.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I mean, they are the modern day colonialists, so it does make sense. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, it's just sickening. Bellamy, who's your scumbag this week?
My scumbag is Milo Yiannopoulos, a resurgence that has just come out of nowhere. Just as soon as Charlie Kirk was assassinated, off he came on X saying, they killed the good one. They have no clue what they're going for. And I thought, great. You know, he's always been insane, but I thought, how entertaining. It's a perfect time. I need a good laugh. But he leaned all the way into how much he hates Jews and how much he hates Israel right away. And this is somebody with a maternal grandmother who's a Jew. He might have been raised a Catholic, but a Jew is a Jew is a Jew, which then brings me back to a very unpopular opinion that I have, is we've truly lost who we are as a people. I don't care if you're religious or anything else, but what we're not seeing right now in the world is the fact that we are having all of this shoved in our faces, and it's about time that we do things the right way. We do things as Jews. Enough with trying to do everything as goyim, eating yogurt, thinking that things are just going to go away, because this guy came out of nowhere. He literally got canceled because he was a pedophile.
Yes, he was.
Pedophile. And now all of a sudden, with people calling Israelis and every single person in the IDF, they keep saying pedophile, pedophile, pedophile every time that it comes to Israel. But now you get to choose your pedophile, who's apparently no longer a homosexual.
Oh, he's not?
Yes. He no longer has jungle fever. He's no longer into black people. He's no longer a homosexual. He is now a changed person, no longer on drugs.
Does he have a girlfriend?
Well, God knows what he's done. He's gone through gay conversion. So he's gone to literally speaking to the alt-right side of the base. And even they're confused. Well, they're saying, what is gay? Are you gay? Or you? Well, no, it was a trauma response. It was a trauma response. You were having this.
You should get together with Nick Fuentes.
You know, I just kind of like that might be a marriage. That might be a perfect partnership. Do it together. Be a power couple.
Yes.
The alt-right.
The white supremacist, partly Mexican, sexual.
But then again, it goes to that when I said that his grandmother is maternal grandmother is a Jew. But that brings it back to how lost are we as a people? Like, you've gone through all of this and you are still coming after your own people in an interview saying, well, you know, Jews run the media. Yes, we do. Jews run the banks. Yes, we do. Are you insane? No wonder why you're going blind.
He's going blind?
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
He is not one of us.
No, it's definitely.
I want to bring out a new term because, like I told you, I've been reading this book on the history of the Jews, and Paul Johnson, who is a Christian writer, writes a beautiful history, and he calls these people non-Jewish Jews. So I don't want to call them self-hating anymore.
Okay.
I want to call these people non-Jewish Jews because that's what they are. They're not Jewish.
I like it.
They're non-Jewish Jews. And so that's what this Milos is. And I remember when they canceled him for being a pedophile. And of course they brought him back because he's on message. Absolutely. All right, talking about morons on message. 200 Hollywood, I would say mostly B celebrities, C celebrities, but there's some A's in there. The haters are always there. Have written a letter to release Marwan Barghouti from jail so that he can be the next leader of the Palestinian people. And this is happening just in time to see whether they can reconstitute a different Palestinian leadership. And what they're really trying to do very deliberately, some ignorantly and some maliciously, is trying to pretend that this Marwan Barghouti, who killed 5 people and who planned attacks that killed so many more people, he was one of the villains of the Second Intifada. This murderer, this terrorist, they want to make him out that he's the Nelson Mandela, that he's a political prisoner in jail. And no, he did not go to jail for political activism. He went to jail for murdering innocent people.
5.
And they're 5 innocent people. And the Hollywood elites, so-called, who have nothing to do with their vacuous lives, have now written this letter to release a convicted terrorist with many more years to serve, if not his entire life. And why are they doing this? Because they think that they're being useful. They think that they're being helpful. They are sanctimonious idiots, morons, who have no idea. Let's pick one of your terrorists who's killed a number of Americans and see if you want them released. And so in one of my comments, when I saw this, I wrote, I would almost be persuaded to agree if he got to live with one of them in their Hollywood home.
I'd love that.
If Marwan Barghouti got to go and live with Mark Ruffalo, I think I'd get behind it. I actually think that would convince me to get behind it. Do you know what I mean?
Listen, when I saw that and I saw literally the ignorance of Hollywood being able to support something like this is just so beyond disturbing, but it shows how little they know about what's happening.
And the brainwashing that they've all encountered, because that's what the media has done.
This makes me miss COVID when they would just sing Imagine. Can we go back to those days where they were filming themselves singing Imagine and baking sourdough? That is something I'll take. That's a celebrity.
I want to say this. I want to say this to every one of those celebrities who wants to support this. The same 4 walls that Marwan Barghouti is looking at now are the same 4 walls he will see the minute he closes his eyes for the last time. He will never be free.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you why he won't be free, not just because we won't let him free, because the other Palestinian leaders, they don't want him free. Mahmoud Abbas, he doesn't want him free. Hamas, they don't want him free either. That's why he's also wasn't even. They were talking about him being released in the last deal. And I'm telling you, my gut, and I've got a good Moroccan witchy gut, tells me that the Palestinian leadership said, we don't want this guy causing trouble for us outside.
Well, he's actually the most popular Palestinian figure, which is what they were trying to argue to defend this, that it's the best hope for a 2-state solution, which is great. Because Marwan Barghouti, he's such a peacenik. He's done so much for peace. He has such a serious peace plan that we've all heard about, right? Right. No, we haven't, because he doesn't support peace and he doesn't support 2 states. States, he's a convicted murderer.
Exactly.
But nobody apparently in Hollywood
Doesn't matter.
understands that. Yeah.
So those 200 Hollywood people, honestly, you couldn't get more scumbaggy than you. Like I said, if you got to live with you, I might be persuaded. All right. Well, we always have to, finish the show with good vibes, good positive vibes. And we have so many heroes that come up every single day. Let's start with you, Bellamy. Who's your hero this
My hero of this week is Katie Hopkins. And I've been a fan of Katie's for a very long time. I mean, she's controversial.
Yes.
But for me, I think watching her growth from when she was saying, I won't hire somebody covered in tattoos or hire a Shaniqua, to now where she is, and she's very honest about where she stands, but she's also grown. But her support for Israel and her support for the Jewish people has never faltered. And I respect that. And she has this segment where she talks about bonkers Britain on a daily basis. It's hysterical because her sense of humor and how she lands every single thing is exactly what I wish I had on a daily basis, fully playing in my head from everywhere. I want that level of intelligence when delivering news like that, because for me, she really no longer cares. There's no longer a line of saying,
they've done everything.
They've done everything to her. And she no longer has that boundary of saying, I'm not going to say something. It was so funny, but the way in which she's always coming and standing up here is saying, who are you people? What do you know? And that I have a very big respect for her. And she's lost everything and having to build back up again, realizing the faults that she's had before, realizing the things that she said before that were controversial, that was just to irk people. But she truly is a real one. And it has to be said that when dealing with two people that have been seen as alt-right figures, I'll pick the lady right now because she's on our side and she's got her head screwed on tight.
She's very controversial, and she came here about 6 years ago. She was supposed to do a movie. She did a movie about the dangers of immigration, especially the Islamization of certain areas. She was talking about it when nobody was talking about it. And so she came to Israel to show this movie, and I was already deputy mayor of Jerusalem at the time, and some guy in London, of course, a left-wing Jew, went around calling all the venues to cancel the showing of her movie. And so these friends of mine from Qatari called me up and they said, would you find her a venue in Jerusalem? Now, I wasn't quite sure who she was. I knew she was kind of I thought she was a bit of an Ann-Coulter type of character. And I made a call and I got her a place to show the movie. The next thing you know, there's a hit piece about me in the Haaretz, how the fascist deputy mayor of Jerusalem saved the Katie Hopkins. And honestly, it was an onslaught it was kind of an innocent thing that I got involved in. But I agree, I think she has evolved. And she's very funny. I really love watching what she has to say.
Yeah.
She's kind of insulting to some people, but you know what? When people are killing people on the street, maybe you should be a little, that's the least of their worries. And she's helping Tommy Robinson, who's trying to do his best.
Tommy is on the warpath against Qatar. Tucker here for it.
We're all here for it, and Tucker.
Yes, and Tucker.
Oh, that I love.
Tucker insulted him and said, well, who is this guy?
That I like.
I never heard of him. And then
He interviewed him twice.
that just shows what
Tucker's not fully baked.
He is a liar.
I don't know what's going on with this guy. But anyway, Emily, who's your hero this week?
So my hero, I think he's been my hero before, but Marco Rubio.
He's been a hero to all of us.
I love him.
Fangirling.
She's fan.
I always girl Marco Rubio.
Marco.
He's my number one. He's always been my number one. From years ago, even before Trump's first presidency, I was Marco Rubio for president, and I will always be because he's the best.
He may need you next time. He might be running for the...
Yes, Marco, I'm available.
Campaign manager right here.
Yes.
Excellent.
No, but seriously, this week, I mean, he's been great on everything, but this week he came out speaking about the threat of radical Islam, which apparently is unpopular to do these days, even with some people in the administration. Go figure. He had a great statement. Take a look.
And radical Islam has designs openly on the West, on the United States, on Europe. We've seen that progress there as well. And they are prepared to conduct acts of terrorism. In the case of Iran, nation-state actions, assassinations, murders, you name it, whatever it takes for them to gain their influence and ultimately their domination of different cultures and societies. That's a clear and imminent threat to the world and to the broader West, but especially to the United States, who they identify as the chief source of evil on the planet. Okay, the reason why they hate the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the leadership of the UAE, of Bahrain, is because they've allowed the United States to partner with them. That's why they hate them. They consider them infidels for it. They hate Israel. But they also hate America, and they hate anywhere in the world that we have influence. They seek to attack it, including here in the homeland.
So I don't really think I need to add more to that, but Marco Rubio, you're my hero of the week for everything that you're doing and for all the dictatorships that you're pissing off and everything that you're doing to fight back against authoritarian regimes, be it Maduro in Venezuela or the Islamic Republic of Iran or Hamas and all of the terror proxies of the Islamic Republic or even Putin himself. So my hero of the week, Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
Good one.
He's honestly amazing. I'm so pleased he's the Secretary of State. You know, there's controversy how much power he has. He doesn't have, but he's the right man.
He doesn't have enough power.
He doesn't have enough power.
Yes.
And look, the question is what's going to happen in the Republican Party in the next, if they're going to win, and it looks like the Democrats cannot get their together. And I mean, if the best thing they can present is Bernie Sanders and AOC, then honestly, you're not going to get into power for a while. Or Gavin Newsom, sorry. Gel hair Gavin Newsom. But if it's J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio, then we all know what's best for the region and who's got the clear eyes. But
Marco is really somebody that I think, because I've mentioned to you before about leaders having an iron spine and leaders with an iron fist. We've become so used to those that have iron fists, but we need somebody with an iron spine.
Yep.
That is somebody that looks at truth and fact and also has accountability. We've lost being accountable and holding people accountable. And I respect him because he'll be the first person to say it directly. This is what you did. This is how you course corrected.
Yep.
That's a leader.
that's a good point.
Marco Rubio also, for his record as a legislator, always worked with the other side too.
Yeah.
He never compromised his principles, but like he's realistic in the sense that like he looked at the immigration and said we need to change the immigration system. Not because he wanted it to be something super right wing, not because the Democrats were right in everything that they proposed, but because as Americans you need to find a solution. And there isn't that rhetoric anymore. Not on the right and not on the left. It's like you're demonized for working with the other side. That's not the path forward.
He comes from a immigrants also.
Yeah,
He comes
Cuban.
from a Cuban family who know repression,
Yep.
who understand what it is, and who came legally to America.
He's the highest ranking Latino ever in America. Did you know that?
Lovely. I didn't know that. Well, Magiello, he deserves it. Shai, who's your hero?
Listen, I'm sure my hero has been many people's heroes time and time again, but this week for a very specific reason, Hillel Neuer.
He's been on the show
Oh, well, listen.
twice.
I mean, what a hero. But this week specifically, if you watch the videos that came out from Francesca Albanese.
I have a private medical insurance, and they refuse to reimburse me because I'm sanctioned by the U.S. The European Union Parliament invited me for a talk recently. They booked a room for me, and it was cancelled because it was on my name.
Eva Braun 2.0.
Also at Doha Forum.
Of course she is. But she came out, she was so upset that she's sanctioned, she can't take out a credit card, nobody will give her money, she can't buy a coffee, and it was all because of Hillel Neuer's report. So thank you.
No, but it's even more. I want to say a bit more about Hillel.
Yeah.
This week, 5 countries that normally voted for UNRWA funding voted against.
He's amazing,
And
amazing.
that is because of his incessant, infatigable lobbying
Absolutely.
for against what UNRWA stands for.
Absolutely.
And the best thing about Francesca Albanese is when she went on Piers Morgan, and when Piers Morgan said Hillel Neuer, she pretended she didn't know who he was. The bane of her life is Hillel Neuer, and she pretended she never had his name.
I don't know.
Never heard that before.
Never heard. She's so disingenuous.
It might be time for her to start a GoFundMe. She should learn from her friend.
Can't be under her name though, apparently. So it's gonna have to be for somebody
Right.
else.
And somebody canceled her hotel, and then she says she doesn't have health insurance. I wrote on Twitter, "Oh, I hope you don't get sick." And somebody wrote, "Why do you wish her to get sick?" I never said that.
Wishes don't.
South Africa might help her, but she can't be there longer than 90 days.
Yeah. Well, South
Well,
Africa.
Palestinians aren't allowed either anymore.
Exactly. They've managed to
Funny how that
cancel.
works.
Yes, the country that is standing up for Palestinian rights have now.
They were like, Gazans want to leave to a safe area? Nope. Cut it off.
Well, didn't Spain just say that last week as well? That Spain said to Israel, no, we won't accept any Palestinians.
But you know who should be accepting the Palestinians is Qatar. They've got such a huge amount of land over there that they've set up for the World Cup. Was it the World Cup?
You don't even need to go that far. Go to Jordan. It's right next door.
Yes, but that's very controversial. But Qatar,
Controversy.
yes, but Qatar have a lot of money,
Yeah, that's-
and they have these cities that were built for the World Cup, which are empty.
Oh.
So how convenient?
Look at that. Housing is already.
How convenient?
They might end up with a tent in 2 weeks. It's not really on brand, is it?
Yes, exactly. Anyway, I think that's a very worthy hero. Hillel, we love him. He's been on the show, and he's always welcome to come back. And we always have a little giggle with him at the things he gets up to at the UN. So I'm a bit greedy this week, and I want to do 2 heroes, but I'll do them quickly. So the first group of heroes are the 1,000 pastors who are in Israel right now on a special mission brought here by Dr. Mike Evans from the Friends of Zion Museum, good friends of ours. 1,000 pastors, that's a lot of people, because all these people are pastors of communities or chains of communities. And so the impact of having all these people here coming to bless Israel, coming to see the truth, coming to stand with Israel. I was there yesterday on a panel. The love that I felt from that audience, it was in the theater because you needed a huge place, was incredible. And so these guys and women, they're my heroes for being here at a difficult time, for standing with Israel. And as I said to them yesterday, you know, the Qatar is now on a very, very deliberate campaign to try and separate the Christians from the Jewish people. They're doing it through Tucker and through other pastors. And these people are standing between Qatar now, indoctrinating the youth in the Christian community and the future of the support for Israel. And these people are the ones standing in that. So I take my hat off to them. And they are my heroes this week. Dr. Mike Evans, Robert Stearns, and so many other incredible leaders that are here. Emily mentioned for her scumbags, and you know, honestly, you couldn't pick from who's in the Doha conference. And I've got an unlikely second hero this week, and that's Hillary Clinton. Just watch this.
That if Americans are shifting in their views about Israel, and poll after poll shows that that is the case, that is based on some information that they're getting not just from social media, but also from very reputable journalists operating in the region, also Palestinian journalists in Gaza. Why is that not accurate?
I talked to students there, I've talked to students elsewhere, and in talking with them about their views, they were certainly entitled to those views based on whatever information they had. But they did not always know why they were saying what they said. And all I'm asking for is that people have a historical context, both for what has happened to the Palestinians and what has happened to the Israelis.
This, I don't even know who the interviewer was, but he is a really disgusting person who tried to get her. She said the young people are against Israel because they're being indoctrinated by TikTok. That's what she said. And this guy tried to get her to say that, no, it was because of the genocide. And come on, how can you say that about the young people? And she was unflappable. I thought she was very diplomatic, actually. She gave him a little bit of leeway. Okay, yes, it's horrible to see conflict anywhere. But why are they homing in on this conflict? Right. It's, you know, tragedy, war is tragedy, but why this? So I think, and I've been saying this since the beginning of October 7th and the whole conflict, the Clintons have been great. Yeah. And the Obamas have been horrible. Yeah. And the Clintons have not wavered. Yeah. They, you know, people criticize them when he was in power and when she was a Secretary of State, but Hillary Clinton has her eyes wide open. Yeah. She knows who rejected the Oslo Accords. Yeah. She knows who gave up on the two-state solution. She knows that that wasn't Israel and that was the Palestinian leadership. And when she spoke yesterday about context in the Doha conference with a guy really trying to push her into a corner, she was unflappable. Chapeau, Hillary Clinton, you're my hero this week for being the only person not lobotomized at the Doha conference. All right. And with that, we finish our show as we do every week. And this week, there's one left, one hostage to come home. Ran Gvili, a hero, a fallen hero. And we pray for him to come home. We pray for this whole world to turn back the right way around. And we'll see you next week. Thank you for watching.